This is from an opinion piece in the San Jose Mercury News. Opinion, stand up to ICE and stand for California values. This is by Roberta Holloman, and it was released yesterday. Now, SB 54 has been released by a congressman, or a state senator rather, named Kevin De Leon. Now, Kevin De Leon, for those of you who aren't familiar with who he is, he's a proponent of basically the so-called, I guess you could say, he's a proponent of pretty much legal, not illegal immigration, but making things better for the public, as far as the illegal public, the public here that's not exactly legal here in the state of California, which there are a lot of. So that's kind of his constituent. Now, this piece starts, federal immigration policies and enforcement have taken an aggressive shift in recent months, including immigrations and custom enforcement agents making arrests at public facilities such as schools and courthouses. Okay, I know a little bit about this. The reason they go to schools and courthouses is because, frankly, the people are there. They think that by being in a courthouse that they are safe, and by being in a school they are safe. But Immigration's Customs Enforcement has decided that that's not cool. That's not the way they want to do things. So what they're doing is they are actually waiting outside of courthouses and, in some cases, outside of schools to pick up the parents of the kids in the school or the people in front of the courthouse. Churches, I believe, are a safe zone, but I'm not quite sure. Churches are a safe zone, but I'm not sure how safe exactly. So there are sanctuary zones like churches, hospitals. If your bones are broken and you're having a serious medical condition, you are not going to be picked up by ICE. But who wants to go to that extreme anyway, right? So the opinion piece continues. These policies and practices are not only devastating for the individuals and families being targeted, but they will also make our communities less safe and less prosperous. Okay, now the whole reason ICE is around, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, is to apprehend people who are in this country illegally, whose visas have expired, who maybe didn't even have visas at all, who don't have green cards, and are here illegally. That is their job. That is what they are federally hired to do by the federal government. They are hired to basically deport people or take people in custody and process them and eventually deport them who are not in this country by legal means. That is what their job is. And this sentence, these policies and practices are not only devastating for the individuals and families being targeted, but they will also make our communities less safe and less prosperous, basically says that we should skirt a federal law regarding immigration just so that our communities can stay together. Well, there's two sides to that, of course. Senate Bill 54 by Senate President Pro Tem, I swear I know how to read, Kevin De Leon, is a crucial step towards protecting California values. It would ensure state law enforcement resources are spent protecting our communities, not deporting our friends and neighbors. Okay, so how does this work exactly? The justification given for these aggressive policies is based on the false perception that illegal immigrants are more dangerous and commit more crimes than residents. Okay, let's get into language here, folks. Illegal immigrants. That means the opposite of legal, right? They've already broken a law. It doesn't mean they're dangerous. It doesn't mean they commit more crimes. It means that they have broken a law. And the way the federal government feels to handle this is to run its own task force called ICE, the Immigration, Customs, and Enforcement. So I'm kind of confused. But anyway, several studies conclude that the exact opposite. Illegal immigrants are less likely to commit crimes than people born in the United States. Well, duh. They've already committed a crime. They've already broken the law. Have you ever driven high? Has anyone ever driven high or driven drunk? Hypothetical question, of course. I'm not expecting an answer, but I've been in cars with people who have driven high and drunk, and I gotta say, I've driven with a little bit of alcohol in my system, not something I'm proud of, but to the point where I could be, I could be pulled over for something and possibly blow a breathalyzer test that's not good. So whenever I've driven intoxicated, I've driven the best I've ever driven because I am focused. I am making sure that my hands are at 10 and 2. I am just the safest driver you've ever seen because I don't want to be pulled over. It's the same principle. These people do not want to draw attention to themselves, so they're going to be good. A report by the American Immigration Council found that crime and immigration have an inverse relationship, and while our immigration rates have increased, crime has declined. Because you have more illegal people here, you don't have people who are born here who I guess feel like they can commit crimes. These are people who are honestly good people who want to just work and stay out of the spotlight, so yeah, they're not going to commit any crimes. The same report also found that among men ages 18 to 49, immigrants were 1/2 to 1/5 as likely to be incarcerated as those born in the United States. Okay, we got that. Again, the perception that illegal immigrants are more dangerous is simply not supported by the data. A 2017 report by the Center for American Progress found that sanctuary counties, which do not assist federal immigration enforcement officials, experience less crime and have stronger economies, higher median household income, less poverty, and less reliance on public assistance than non-sanctuary counties. The report found that there are on average 35.5 fewer crimes committed per 10,000 people in sanctuary counties compared to non-sanctuary counties. Okay, so there's some data for you that it is better for people to be here illegally because of the fear than people born in the United States because I guess they feel like they can commit crimes. But the higher median household income, less poverty, and less reliance on public assistance, that, in my estimation, points specifically to a certain kind of immigrant, the immigrants that do work, that want to work. They don't want to be here for a handout. That is a misperception by people that think that there are people out there who want to be here because they want to get a handout. That's not the case usually. In my experience, I've noticed that most of these people who are here illegally want to work. They want to earn their keep. And also the higher median household income probably is supported by the fact that some of these people are hired by people who are rich or well off. So think about it this way. With the higher median household income, and they employ this group of illegal immigrants, or they employ illegal immigrants, it's just like I said before. The middle class is a nuisance for California. They want a rich class and a poor class, and they want the rich class to support the poor class. Middle class people who do their jobs and pay their taxes and complain about the roads are kind of a nuisance, in my opinion. The reason for these improved outcomes in sanctuary counties is clear: increased trust between law enforcement and the communities they serve. When local police are entangled with federal immigration enforcement, immigrants fear approaching and reporting the crimes they witness, taking away vital information from investigators. Okay. So it appears that California is taking the step that these people are here, we can't do anything with them, let's forget about deporting them, we just have to worry about getting information out of them. It's like a hole in the boat. When you have a hole in a boat and the water keeps coming and the water's coming faster and faster, eventually you got to do one of two things. You got to either scoop the water out of the boat, or you got to plug the hole, or you got to, three things. You got to figure out a way to deal with the water that's in the boat. It just keeps coming and coming and coming. So you can either plug the hole and stop everything from coming, or try to, I guess, get out as much water as you can, but in the end, it's kind of a losing battle. You're going to sink if there's too much. Too many people for the amount of resources. And that's the only thing I think is kind of a problem, because if we have so many people who are here that need help, then are we the place to house them? In 2015, President Obama's task force on 21st century policing concluded that whenever possible, state and local police should not be involved with immigration enforcement. The Los Angeles Police Department has long recognized this and has recently urged ICE agents not to identify themselves as police. Police chiefs across the United States have denounced President Trump's Sanctuary Cities executive order because enforcing federal immigration policies drains local resources and erodes public trust. So, I think everybody is in agreement. There is a law broken. Now it's a matter of how do we live with these folks. It's not getting them out of the state. It's how do we live with these folks and improve the trust between immigration, or not even immigration, the trust between local police and the communities. Instead of making us safer, these new immigration policies will only spread fear and promote race-based prejudice. SB 54 will protect the safety and well-being of all Californians by ensuring that state and local resources are not used to support mass deportation, separate families, and damage California's economy. Local law enforcement would still be able to coordinate with federal authorities when undocumented violent criminals are released from state custody or under investigation. That all sounds fine and good, right? But it's not the way it happens. Local governments are actually not cooperating at all with federal governments. With the federal government. They're not cooperating at all. In fact, they are releasing people who don't have documentation. Kind of, how about this? Go out the back door and I'll deal with the federal guy. Oh, I've never seen him in my life. We've just released him. I don't know what he did. Kate Steinle was killed by one of these immigrants that was deported 5 times and allowed to be free in San Francisco. Now, there's 2 sides to that. There's the one side that said if we had better immigration policies to begin with, we wouldn't have to deport this guy 5 times, he wouldn't have to come in illegally 5 times, and he wouldn't have to kill somebody. There might be more trust in the police. There might be more trust in local law enforcement to be able to pick up this guy and keep him from committing a crime. And then there's other people who say he shouldn't have been here in the first place and we have to close the borders down. Shut them down, they say. But really, is it... I mean... God, that's such a head-scratcher because you have so many illegal immigrants here. Now, here's an update. SB 54 passed the Senate and is now before the Assembly. So, within a month, ladies and gentlemen, we might have California be practically its own economy in a way, because California will be exercising its right to not cooperate with the federal officials, and if Donald Trump withholds federal funding from California, why are we even a state? Why are we even a state? And that's why people are talking about secession. That's right.